Hello and welcome to the Hugh Hatrick Show here on a sunny Tuesday afternoon in the northeast of England. And we are joined by two fantastic guests today. It is Ashley Appleby and Jack Totard. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having us.
Hello.
Now, Ashley, you're the first. You've come on the show. This is your first time on the show. Jack, we have had many a time, so he knows he's calm and restful as he sits there typing away on his keyboard. But Ashley, you're the first time we've had you on the show, and you've got a very interesting background as to how you have come into sim motorsport and working for Simstaff. Now, I'm sure we'll see our audience be wondering, what is this great history? How did you come to work for Simstaff? And I know that your university degree was in something rather different than sim racing.
I've always been into motorsport and media. I went to college, I studied TV and film media, but I didn't quite know what I really wanted to do in the industry. So when I left college, obviously it's a really, really difficult industry to get into. So my mum and dad, they were like, well, maybe you should start thinking about doing something else. Having a bit of a backup plan. So I went into education and particularly behaviour and SEN kind of route. So I was a behaviour specialist and autism specialist. And I ended up then going to uni and I studied psychology, criminology / sociology with the with the intention at the time to either become the next Columbo or to go more into child psychology within like children who go through like county line drug scandals, etc. That was like kind of like how I was picturing myself going. And then one day during COVID, during lockdown, I sat there and I thought, I really, really want to give this like my all. I want to get into the industry and at least do something and give it a shot at trying to get in. So I started up my own freelance company, which then ended up me getting a job as a social media manager at Simstaff.
Wow.
So I've been with Simstaff for 2 years now, and ended up coming on full time in February this year as their brand and client liaison. So I'm in charge of the brand and I make sure all of the clients are happy as can be. So kind of my story.
That's pretty good. And what kind of clients have you had? Because I know you have some pretty big names coming to Simstaff to do events.
Yeah, so we have a lot of clients within like the Formula One and motorsport industry, Formula E, etc. And then we work with some bigger name brands as well as we do private installs for like people like yourself, and especially the most popular one at the moment is kind of younger people trying to get into the industry as well, so like young go-karters, etc.
Yeah. And how do you find kind of the sim motorsport kind of world compared to real motorsport? Do you think there is a very similar attitude between the people that run it and in both sides? Because I think now what we've seen in motorsport, they're relying on sim racing much, much more, aren't they? They're kind of really the credibility of sim racing has really gone up. Have you found that to be the same? What have been the things that stand out in how you work and how you bring people across to do an event?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, as far as like costings go, obviously like having an actual go-kart and going in that way can be really, really expensive. And not everybody always has not a lot of families have the capability to be able to afford that and to afford all these sponsorships, etc., and go into race weekends. So I think in terms of getting practical experience, a simulator does really, really well in that context. We like I said, we see a lot more like young people, the young go-karters, etc., coming forward and wanting to have sims. And near enough all of them now, even if they do compete in go-karting at some level, do have a simulator. And obviously as the hardware gets more advanced and technology develops, etc., the line blurring between the real racing and sim racing, becomes more blurred and more conjoined in that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's definitely growing a lot in that aspect.
Yeah. I'll quickly come to Jack as he sits there pensively looking on there. That Jack, you have one of the best jobs, I think, in the world there, and certainly in sim racing, because you get to deal with all the lovely tech. I remember seeing a video recently of said it's like a birthday every day or Christmas every day as you're waiting for all this new tech to arrive and unboxing it all and putting it all together. What's been the big events that you've been doing recently in the last few months since we last had you on? What's been the big news?
There's been quite a few. I think the main thing is now we're starting to restart, the F1 season. So we're starting to get back into. We just had the Australian Grand Prix. That was exciting. Sadly I didn't go, but we had towards the end of last year as well. Yeah, Qatar. We had a few techs out there. I did go to that one, which was great fun. But yeah, we've got loads going on at the moment. Formula E's just started up their season as well. And we've had loads of different clients as well with conventions. We've got all the big sim championships just about to start kicking off again. So yeah, it's really getting there. And we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it's because I mean it's interesting you say that you mentioned Formula E there. So you've got some Formula E sim racing. I've not really looked into that side so much because I think part of the reason why we do sim racing is because we like to do the petrol engine cars, don't we, or the cars that kind of represent the kind of the Formula One and things like that, or the GT3 cars. But I know that there are simulator software for Formula E. That must be quite an interesting one. Have you done a bit with that?
Yeah, so R Factor has a Formula E mod that is done in partnership with Formula E as a whole. And I would like to say, I think R Factor's probably been one of the stronger, and Formula E as a whole have been really strong in pushing the sim racing kind of genre. So they've been using it throughout a lot of their events. They've been working with the drivers to, push out like different training systems on it. And recently as well, they did what was it called? There was a Formula E event where they had a load of content creators and stuff like that down. They had simulators there as well, and it was used as a training tool for them. So they're really pushing that link between sim racing and real world motorsport, which it's been quite cool to see.
Yeah. Now, I've got a quick question here as well for Ashley. Because obviously I know you've been there now for a couple of years at Simstaff. Where do you see the direction of the kind of sim motorsport kind of events going? Is there anything that is the kind of, what's the jewel in the crown that's coming up? Is there kind of any new events that maybe never been done before, or something that you're pushing to try and achieve in sim racing?
Yeah, I think that I think it's either in Qatar or Abu Dhabi. Jack would have to, he probably knows more about it than me, but they're doing like an AI series where they're doing, so like you have to have like an AI driver, etc., and you can code the car, etc. That's coming up recently, and I think that's going to be a really, really good way that the industry is going to grow in, particularly from an innovation standpoint. And I'm sure there's so many things that we can do with like racing simulators there as well. So that's one of the things that is probably the most exciting at the moment from an innovation standpoint. And in terms of simulator events themselves, I think we're really, really starting to they're becoming very, very popular. Everybody wants a sim at their corporate event, etc. But I think that the next step that we take is how can we take that experience that they're having there and develop it something further for the consumer. So I think that can, obviously we have a load of ideas of how we're doing that already, and I can't really say it because it's all under wraps. But but there's a lot of things that can be done and developed to help that kind of customer base become even more engaged and to just take those events up to the next level.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'll ask our viewers as well. What would you like to see in sim racing? What would be your ideal of a big improvement in maybe sim racing equipment, or something that would make it even more exciting to be able to play? I know that next generation racing, or next level racing, has just introduced kind of a thing that you add, it's built into the seat, so it gives you more of a feel of what's happening. I think a little bit of movement here and there, or vibration, to kind of give you an idea of if you're braking and accelerating and the car's moving about. So it shows you that it is beginning designed to come, and also at an affordable cost, because the old simulators used to be absolutely incredible, the amount of money that people would spend on them. Do you think, I know, Jack, you were saying that a lot of equipment has come down a bit in price, and there's some really good equipment now that can make, give you a first class experience of sim racing. What would you recommend?
I think now, especially as you're looking at Acetec and Fanatec have brought out these full bundles, including your rig, your direct drive wheelbase. For you can get a full system now, excluding the PC, but for under about £1,000.
Yeah, which is great.
Which should we have looked at a few years ago? That was a distant, a distant dream. So it's really cool to see, the technical innovation that came in at the start has now come towards, bringing down the overall price. So I think now it's a lot more, not standard, but it's easier to get into, and it's easier to get the right type of kit. So in terms of your Fanatec wheelbases and stuff like that, your direct drive systems are a lot easier and more attainable for the everyday user, which is really good to see.
Yeah. So Ashley, if let's say someone comes along and says, right, I want to do an event like a big birthday party or something like that, is that something that you would deal with? Say, right, I want 5 sims in a hole and I want it all done properly. Is that something that you would try and put together, or would it be something that Jack would do, or would you tell Jack to do it?
It's more of like a team effort, I think. Obviously I deal with more of the client side. Max does more of the event side, so he focuses on actually putting it all together from like a logistical standpoint with the staff and that with our technicians. And obviously I'm there to make sure that the client's happy throughout, and if there's anything else that we can help them with. And then obviously Jack is the person who has to sit in the warehouse when it's freezing cold and build the sims and get them ready for the event. So I think it's more of a team effort in that regard.
Yeah. Do you think as well, because there's so much in motorsport, so many different classes, different types of championships, and they're all trying to compete for glory, aren't they? They're all trying to get the new user, the new kind of gamer to come in and play and experience what they have to offer. So you've got the Formula One titles that are quite popular, and now with the Grand Prix season underway, that will bring in quite a bit. But then, of course, GT3 is massive with the amount of following that everyone likes on that, and of course things like Le Mans Ultimate. People love those hypercars, which I just cannot play on LMU. I've tried again, but and I always blame my equipment. But my equipment is not supplied by Simstaff, so you don't have to worry about that. So it's but yeah, what would you think? What do you think is the most popular format of kind of sim racing at the moment?
Yeah, I think we're seeing now, especially I think it has been the case for the past few years, is that endurance racing aspect's been the biggest system. I think iRacing's done wonders to push, things like the Nürburgring 24, Daytona 24, these big endurance events are massive within, the general community with bringing people in. You get a lot of people who may not drive on a daily basis who will turn up for these events. And it's one of the best ways, the communities really push in, motorsport as a whole. So I think this is definitely the way to, the way they're pushing it and the way that people are driving now. I think games like F1 and, your general AC and your iRacing and stuff like that and your AC Rally, they do get a consistent player base, but those events that really drag in the big numbers are your GT racing and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how every new title that comes out brings it. I think AC Rally is fantastic. I think they've really done that really well. And I know I was speaking to Lawrence de Sosa and he was playing that. But a lot of kind of content creators and gamers have tried that and they really like it. It's got a nice feel to it. They seem to have done the finesse of the cars and even the landscaping. I know they've just introduced the Monte Carlo Rally stages, and they look amazing and all that. And I think that's that. I think because if you can grab the fun and the kind of historical side, making it really feel like you're in that kind of place, that it's as real as it can be, then it does make it is, and also it's drivable. So it's not impossible to actually drive those cars that you get to use, which is something quite special. Would there be a particular type of what do you prefer, Jack? Is there any particular style of racing that you like?
I'm a big fan. I tend to do a lot of iRacing. F4 seems to be my my go-to. It's the one that I don't seem to crash the most on. So but also been really into the AC Rally recently. I haven't tried Monaco yet. I'm yet to Monte Carlo. Still want to give a crack on, but I built a rig up in the office here specifically for me to do some AC Rally on. So
you just not have been given any time to use it yet.
That's
no research time is available.
So no, 100%. iRacing has always been my go-to sim, but AC Rally seems to have drawn me away from it for just a little bit.
Yeah. I do like the single seaters. I do a bit on Race Room with the Dalaras, I think it is, or what's the one that they use? Is it the Dalara? I'm trying to think they use or the Tatus, one of the two. And they're quite good because they're quite easy to drive, and you can drive it flat out quite quickly and have quite a lot of fun with that, isn't it? That if someone was considering going in with PC racing rather than console, we've got Woody Boy in the comments there watching, who's a keen console player and very, very fast kind of time trialer. What would you recommend for someone going into PC racing? Why is it a bit better, or because I think most people have done PC racing after console racing, I think there seems to be a lot more choice. But is there anything you can pinpoint that just makes maybe a PC racing worth it a bit more?
I think the main difference you'll get with PC as opposed to console is that first off, the change in compatibility. There are inherent issues why there aren't certain wheelbases, certain wheels available on your PS or your Xbox. But also just the ability to change up your rig. So things like, ultra wide monitors, whether or not you're going to be running different mods, CSP, stuff like that is a lot more changeable. I think as well, the long-term sustainability of it, like for myself at home, I've got my rig, which I've run on PC, and been using that. I'm now able to mess around with it. So I can add things like vibrations to my brakes, or I can add wind or lighting and stuff like that. Stuff that you can't necessarily do on console, but I think there's definitely room, and there, I know there's consistent work from the big companies to work on the console side of things, and I know there's a few issues as to why it's taking longer, but it's exciting to see that kind of side of it develop as well.
Yeah. Now, Ashley, as you're surrounded by all this equipment and all these engineers kind of building all these things, are you ever tempted to have a go, or do you have a particular kind of type of racing that you quite like?
I used to be, so when I was growing up, I used to be really, really into Dirt Rally. That was my big game, Dirt Rally and Grid on the PlayStation 3. Good days.
No, that's it. I know it's quite fun. So how do you find, with all this new technology there and all these new racing formats, do you ever find you would quite like to have a go in a particular type of racing or rallying?
I'd love to have another go at AC Assetto Corsa Rally with the D-Box motion platform. And I've never done like a sim rig where you have like the clutch and stuff as well. So I'd love to try that out. That would be quite fun. I might have to go down to the office again next week and have a go on the sim that Jack has set up in there. But yeah, something like that would be really, really cool. As far as like my own equipment is concerned, I really only just like race on F125, to be fair, at the moment. But yeah,
it's quite a good game though. I quite like it.
It is definitely a good game. Every year it gets better. Every year I go, this drives so much better than what it did. I think they're slowly coming out of they're slowly coming out of the arcade kind of style now. Which is nice.
No, you get a really good feel. I like it. I got it for my PS5, and I actually say I really like the game. I like to. It's a pity there's not a bigger player base because I like that one when it was a kind of trial where the last person that finished won, or the last person, the last one standing, and that was quite good because you get it at Spa or different places, and it was quite tough. But they were actually, I thought that was a great little idea, and I think if they promoted that a bit more, you had a bit more drivers playing it, then I think actually it would have taken off, because it was quite a. And if I would quite to see that, I'd like to see that one on Gran Turismo 7 or some other platforms, because I think that kind of last man standing, as long as they're not just wiping everyone else out, then I think it's which could tell GT7 that would probably happen straight away. But no, it's I think that kind of thing is quite fun, and also it gives you a chance, because when the race is on, or it's the race weekend, and then you can do the same time trial for that track. As one of the top drivers has done, and you've got to try and match it. I think that's quite fun, and it gives you quite a good experience of what it's like, and just making me feel a lot more involved. Well, now we've got TNS Racer watching. We've got Woody Boy. We've got quite a few others there in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. We have two very special guests here. If you've not seen them before, it's Ashley Appleby from Simstaff and Jack Tolchard from Simstaff as well. And Jack and I have gone back a long time, almost as far as, not quite as far as Josh, to be fair.
Almost,
as the director of the company. But we've gone back, and he is brilliant. He's brilliant at getting your PC or your gaming console all sorted out. Whenever you have an issue, of which these things do happen every so often, Jack, tell us exactly what you do and how you can help people who are watching today.
So we've got two parts of Simstaff as a whole. So Simstaff started, with the contracting side of it. We did all the events, but throughout kind of, especially the last year, and this is kind of a spot of heavy development for myself personally. We've noticed there's not as many options out there for support when it just comes to, fixing your hardware, putting things together, setting up the systems. You tend to get a lot of companies, whether it be different brands or different manufacturers or different resellers, that once you've got everything together, they don't really support you on, because they don't want to support, other products, or they don't really have the information on that, so they can't provide you it. So we launched Simrig support, which has been super useful about a year or so ago now. And the entire intention of that is it's a repair service, it's a support service, and it's also, we're there to help build your rig. So we do this kind of larger portion of it. We use the network, a wide, network of contracts as well, so loads of information there. So there's some exciting news coming on that in the near future. I think you've seen a little sneak peek of it, but I can't go into much detail.
Oh, it looks very, very good. I'm very excited about that.
But there's loads coming up with it as well, which we're excited to push out.
Yeah. I think because the thing is, for a lot of people, I know when I got my PC, it was, you're desperate to get into gaming. You've downloaded it on Steam and you just want to get the thing working, and you might have a nice monitor. I've got a new curved monitor, and you want everything to kind of fit and work. And then you put it on, and of course, and maybe you've not wired it in right, or you've done something wrong, or the software isn't compatible, or there's some issue, and then you think, oh goodness, unless you're an engineer or you've got a more technical background, where do you even start? Especially you've got Windows 11, which is totally different to Windows 10, and you can't find half the stuff that you had on it before. So it's like you can't even go through a list of what apps you've got. It only gives you a summary of what you have. And so people like yourself, Jack, I turn to you and pay my £30 for an hour is at the moment, and which is great value. And then we get a proper hour's chat, and you come in there and you fix it. Like my Streamlabs never worked on how many occasions, and you come in there, and within a couple of minutes you've analyzed what the problem is, and then you can fix it. So it really does. It's like, because I wouldn't know where to start on these things. I look on Google and it tells me, right, I need to put on one area, add a delay, and then on the other area put in a minus, and I would have no way of knowing, well, what have I put in what box and whatever else. So it's but straight away, and you take over the computer and with TeamViewer. But don't worry, it's not like one of those calls that you get saying, oh yes, I'll take you on, we'll fix your computer. Jack does it for sure, and you just see the mouse. You can relax as your mouse is running across the screen, and Jack's doing all the work for you.
400 miles per hour.
Yeah. No, but it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, because you just kind of, we tell you what we need done, and then you go in and you're able to do it and fix it, and then we can go back and race again. And it's very, very quick and very effective. So it's totally thumbs up, and I pay for it, so it's not like I get it for free. I do pay for it. So it's a balanced review, but you do a great job. So I think for people watching, if you are stuck with PC issues and it's not working, just go on to this. It's on the Simrig support, and there's also the Sim. Can you get to Simrig support from Simstaff?
Yes, so Simrig support is the best way to get to it. Just type in Simrig support on Google. It'll be the first thing that shows up. I believe you can get it through to Simstaff. Actually, quote me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's just Simrig support online. You'll find it.
Yeah. So we're kind of early in the year as well for everything that's going on in motorsport. What are going to be, have you got some big events that you can tell us about that you're going to be doing maybe in the summer that people will be quite interested, I'm sure, to hear what you're doing, Ashley?
We can talk about. No, you put me on the spot now, Hugh.
First time. There's always a first time on the show when I put you on the spot.
Yeah, we usually do Goodwood in the summer, so that's usually a big one that we do. So we'll most definitely be going there. We have events going on at different gaming events like Comic-Con, etc. as well, which isn't usually very motorsport themed Comic-Con. So it's a bit interesting how they're going down that route now. Yeah, I mean, as I said before, we work with quite a few companies in the industry, so there's always stuff coming up. And our crew are usually there at some certain point, just in disguise and not always in Simstaff uniform. So so we have quite a few bits coming up.
Oh no, that's good. I was going to say, where is Comic-Con this year? Is it in Birmingham or is it somewhere else, or London, or? Because I know it was. I'm sure I've heard of somebody else going to go to Comic-Con this year. Because I always thought it was in America. It's very big in America, but
yeah, they have different ones. So we have, I think there's two main ones that happen here, which is in the Birmingham at the NEC, and then you have one in London. And then they do like smaller kind of pop-up ones. So there's like one in Brighton, for example, one in Reading, etc. And they do them throughout the year. And then you have the massive one, which is I think it's in Chicago. And that's the massive one that's in America. Yeah.
No, that's the thing. I was going to say, have any of you been to the F1 World in London? Because I know they've put some simulators in there, haven't they? Have you? Have you been there at all, Jack?
I haven't actually. I don't think I've seen it either. I'll need to. This is it. I'm stuck in it the whole time. I never seen it.
Is that the one where they have the go-karting? Is that where they built it? They did the go-karting in the car park, didn't they?
That is at.
Is it in Leicester Square?
Oh yeah. Sorry, it is the go-kart place. Yeah. F1 Drive. Is that it?
Because I was in London a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't have a chance to go and see it. But it's supposed to be quite good, and I know that's the thing. And as you specialise doing your F1 simulators and builds, isn't it? It's quite, that would definitely be. I'm sure Josh would give you some research time to go and experience.
I wouldn't mind a free day there, to be honest.
I was down there karting all day.
To be fair, he's not commented yet. Maybe you'll comment and see when you're watching as to what you're allowed and not allowed to do. But in case you ask afterwards, but no, it is great. I mean, after in the pre-show talk, we were mentioning how you did that big Autosport show last year for Williams, and you had 20 simulators, including the motion simulator, and it was literally a queue the whole day long, and it was brilliant because literally 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, everybody cleared out. And you had it all working, and I mean that's a huge kind of event to do. But it must have been quite exhilarating dealing with all that, and also being able to, because I don't think anyone went away unhappy. Everybody, as far as I could see, had a really good time and really enjoyed it. Many people came back for another go. So it must give you quite a lot of not as confidence, but a feeling of you've done a good job. Is there a particular event that stands out where you think, people really enjoyed that one?
For me, I've always been a fan of the F1 Championships as a whole. I tend to be there, on hand, helping out with the stage and stuff. On top of that as well, Goodwood has always been, because we do quite a few stands there. So we'd have, 3 to 4 stands at the same time, and that seems to be super, super popular. And it will be over a larger area. So for us, that's super exciting to see. As you go around, you see not only the clients are happy, but you get different customers. It'll be funny. They'll come to one of our stands where we got rigs on, and we went, "Oh, we've been on these other rigs, and they were super cool." We're like, "Good to hear that you've enjoyed them." You got the same situation here. So, Goodwood for us is one of my favorites, and I think what people say after that, and the smiles you get on people's faces it's one of the most welcoming and thankful things.
Yeah. Goodwood's a fantastic event, isn't it? It's especially when you get the nice weather. Although it must be the heat. I remember the first time I went back in 2013, it was 34 degrees that weekend, and it was absolutely roasting. So I imagine playing games inside, because you kind of have to have everything covered and sorted, and ideally not air conditioned, but at least cool. It must be a little bit sweaty on a day like that when you're trying to kind of play those, play games in a very, very hot conditions, isn't it? But now, of course, they've improved it so much, and there's lots of interior places that you can kind of hide away in. But I love the fact that all these big manufacturers would then have simulators on their stand. Like Mercedes had a big simulator, BMW had a whole bunch of simulators, and you had a race. You actually had to go in and you could win a prize, and there's about 5 or 6 of them all in a row, and then you could go in and have a go around Silverstone. And it was a matter of if you made it through the first corner after the start, you were doing pretty well. But it was kind of crazy. But no, it's taking it to a new level. I mean, I always think maybe the next thing might be is in the driving test, because a lot of people now, it's harder to, it's very expensive to get driving lessons, and they obviously have a big theory part. But I would have thought this is surely a big step for where simulators could come in. We should really have a simulator in every school and university to be able to kind of let people have a go at driving, and because they could do most of it, I think, on a simulator quite realistically. Do you think? I know obviously Simstaff has done work with colleges and universities before, and currently, do you think maybe that's something that it might edge into, or do you think there's a gap there?
Yeah, I think
definitely.
I'll let you go.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that there's a lot of room in education for things like sim racing, and not just from like a learning to drive perspective, but from different course perspectives as well. Particularly as in like a lot of colleges obviously have their motorsport courses, so we can do things with telemetry data, etc. So you could have one student that goes and sits on the sim and drives it along. You have another student who's looking at the data that's on the other screen going, okay, so if we change these settings in AC or these settings on a mod, can we change the data? And it kind of like creates that kind of like STEM learning environment with the practicalities of it, where they can just keep experimenting with what's happening. I think that there's a lot of things that could possibly be done with it. And then obviously we've done a lot of college installs at this point. One of them being at Humber Polytechnic College in Canada, where we kind of have the Simstaff Velocity suite there, where we have some of our simulators set up so their esports students and their esports team can go and practice on the sims. And then we also have like a separate division of that where the students there can get work experience with us. So like last year they came to the Canadian International Auto Show with us.
All right.
For the week, and they sat there and they did like their work experience stuff at the show with us, and really got like hands-on to understand kind of like how the industry is, what we do, etc. And they all had a lot of fun doing it as well. So
yes, because I think you had some Formula One rigs at the Canadian Auto Show, wasn't it? It was I remember seeing the reels of that, and it looked quite good, because normally when you go to a car show, I mean, it's and of course Canadian cars, American cars the market's quite different to Europe, and it's maybe not so kind of sports orientated, maybe off-road sports perhaps, but the cars are a bit more kind of more utilitarian kind of. It's like a white goods type thing, isn't it? You buy a car, you buy a washing machine in America, isn't it? They don't have that kind of passion that goes into more kind of European makes. There are of course some like Chevrolet Corvette and things like that, but it's quite interesting. So it would have been interesting to turn up to the Canadian Auto Show and see a whole bunch of F1 rigs. I think, we'll have a go with that. I mean, I suppose the manufacturers are investing, like Mercedes and others, and Honda and others are into it. But you'd find that it would have been quite. I mean, it looked really busy on the footage that you gave. Did you find people quite enjoyed having a go on these rigs?
I think we had like I think them from the top of my head, it may have been like 10,000 people came through or something like that. It was like absolutely ridiculous. We did like a time trial during the event as well, where you could then win tickets to go to Niagara 5,000 at the end of the year, which is also like another massive motorsport kind of gathering that happens once a year. So yeah, we had quite a few people come through the stand and have a go on the sims and stuff. We also had some people interested in getting sims for themselves, etc. as well. So it was definitely a really, really good event. And also just trying to like, obviously we're all across the globe, so we're always trying to like push our services out to different areas of the world. So it was just one of those ones where we were just continuing trying to push into Canada.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing. I mean, I remember going the first time I went to Florida into a car dealership. We went to this BMW dealership and just outside Orlando, and it was amazing because it's absolutely vast. I mean, they're so much bigger than anything you get in Britain, and they're very, very friendly. And I thought going in there, they wouldn't be interested in a Brit wanting to look at a car, so they'd leave us alone and just let us kind of have a little look. We'll be very polite and just say, "Oh, we're just having a little look." Well, they came over to us. They actually had a restaurant in the car dealership and said, "Oh, even if you're just looking, make sure you get something to eat and something to, and this is incredible. We never get that back in Britain, but they're very good on the service side, and they're very enthusiastic about the kind of cars that they can sell along with it. In fact, the guy knew how much it cost to ship a car over to Britain, even though it would be left-hand drive and everything else. We could do all these costs straight away. So I'm sure it's a great market to get in. Because it's vast, and of course the Canadians and the Americans, they love what's going on in Europe, isn't they? On our car scene, it'd be great to see it. But there's always big events coming up, lots of big motor shows. Although I heard that what was the one that they don't have the motor show anymore? Oh, it's the one, was it in Switzerland? What was the one that they had? It was that big one that they had in Europe that we all used to go to. So now it's mainly America, aren't they? In fact, they don't have the Detroit Motor Show. So the Detroit one they cancelled, and they've redone it all because that's right, because I think they had the launch of one of the F1 scenes there and things. But the old motor shows were fantastic, and at least it's kind of like what Goodwood now incorporates, isn't it? People want to go more to that big weekend where they can see cars driving and lots of all their famous and kind of more favourite machinery racing up and down a track or a hill to give them that experience, and it's a bit better, isn't it? But yeah. So what do you think? What do you think now is the next in the next few months? What do you think is going to be the latest technology that you think will improve people's experience of racing? I'll go to you, Jack, with that.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see the boom of peripherals, I'm going to call it. So we're starting to see, more things like more active pedals, and you got your seatbelt tensioners and stuff like that come into play. It's not really something that was as big before. It hadn't really been something that was, they existed, but I think the pricing was too high, or there weren't many options. But we're now seeing more and more of these come through. Moser's starting to release more stuff. Simucube's releasing more equipment. Fanatec's looking at it, and I know there are plenty other brands out there as well who are truly working on it. So we're seeing a load of these come in now, and I think this is the area of it. I think we've basically nailed down the wheelbase. So now it's just, what can we do to further enhance the experience? And that's really what we're seeing explode now.
Yeah, because I've just got normal pedals on my Thrustmaster T598. And I think they're okay to a degree, but everyone says I should be getting load cell pedals. What would you say is the difference between the two? What would I experience more of if I had load cell pedals?
Personally, I think what we tell a lot of people is it's a mixture of both realism but also consistency. Being able to apply that pressure will help your muscle memory grow. So as you do, more and more laps, you get more and more used to how much force you're having to put through your leg. But it's also the ability to be more accurate. You can trail brake easier, and it feels more natural to the user. It's one of those things that I tend to say to people, it's hard to explain until you give it your first go. And once you've had your first try on it, you'll never go back. It is an absolute game changer. But now we're seeing beyond just load cell now. We're looking at, hydraulic pedals and active pedals that, the evolution beyond that. So they're really, really blowing up what you can do with your pedals.
Yeah. Well, I remember at the Autosport show last year, using your F1 setup on both the normal and the one that had the motion. And it did just seem to work really well. Now, I'm not sure what pedals you had on those. You can tell me in a wee sec what they were, but the experience was really good, and it was great for me. It was great because I turned the wheel and the car turned, and the ratios were perfect. Even the steering ratios worked. Not something I can say about the Thrustmaster, but it does seem to be really good. What kind of setup did you have actually for a kind of F1 base that you had last year?
So those were, I believe, the Fanatec, just CSL load cells, which is their entry-level load cell set. It's what we use across all of our event rigs because it's a mixture of easy to use, but they're also quite secure. They're not going to break down as often. They're pretty reliable. There are a big range of load cells, so you can go anything from kind of those which are on the softer range to basically like Acertec and Victor's, a range which are really, really solid. So it's trying to get that mix between the two, figuring out what fits the user more. You can change the rubbers, change the spring strength, and really hone down on what works for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I've got a quick question. I have put questions out to our viewers as well. So you're more than welcome to put questions to Ashley and to Jack and to put them on the spot. And maybe Josh might ask you a question that will really put you on the spot. But you know, the one.
Why aren't you working?
Well, this is work. This is work. I'm sure it's. But I'll be claiming a bit of salary out of that as well. I think. But one of the things I have, which is as you're the equipment guru there, when I play GT7 on my Thrustmaster, whenever I go into a server, I have to change the steering ratio. Because they always have it on a very high ratio, and it just, you know, it's got like a bus turning circle. It hardly does anything. So it's so I put it to like 360 degrees, so I've got a better turn in. And yet when I finish that server, if I have to restart or retry on GT7, it forgets the ratio, and I have to go back into it and redo it again. Would there be a reason why that happens? Anything that comes to mind as to why that? Because it remembers everything else, like your traction control setting, your brake balance, things like that, but it won't mention the steering ratio.
It's one of the downfalls of, I guess, the use of console in this case. The main reason you'll be seeing it is, first off, is a mixture of cars. Each car that you'll drive would want a different steering ratio, whether you're between Formula, GT, or road cars. So they always change. But when it comes to your wheelbases and how the software on there works, is the wheelbase itself, the Thrustmaster in this case, holds all the data in terms of your steering ratio, your force feedback settings, and stuff like that. Whereas the game holds the data on your traction control, your brake bias, and what the car's doing. So I think Thrustmaster specifically has the issue. I don't really know on the side of Fanatec. But it's a common situation just with console as a whole, where it can't store data on the wheelbase software. You can alternatively try to set it up on a laptop first, and then try to plug it in that way. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Because you can try basically preloading your settings onto the wheelbase, but it is a case with console use that they do just it can't save anything to the wheelbase.
It's the most annoying thing, and I compare it to those, like on the latest cars that you have, and they thought, right, everyone must have a big screen in the middle of your car, and they had that great idea to take away the wee knob that turns your fan on and your heating on. That was really easy to turn up and down if you had a more basic car, and now everything's on a screen, and you've got to try and press the button to go into temperature, and then you've got to go another menu, and this time one hand's on the wheel, and you're trying to point this along, and all you're trying to do is turn the temperature down, and you're kind of swerving across the road trying to do it.
That's about right.
really kind of complicated. But that's technology, isn't it? That's progressing with the cars. Well, I think now they're actually coming back, realizing people like to have things that they can easily turn and touch that are quick, like a switch or a button. It's
a safety thing, really, isn't it? I mean, nobody wants a 32-inch flat screen TV in your car. You just don't want that. So
no, that's the thing. That's the thing, isn't it? Now, I was going to quickly say, Ashley, I know we've been going for over 40 minutes, so I'm very. I know you are on the salary, so I'll need to make sure I get as much value as I can for the timing that we've been allowed to have you on. But what is your plan for Simstaff? Because I know it's growing. Growing in a great way on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. What have you got goals to try and get Simstaff even more popular? What are you going to be doing to grow the company over the year?
Yes, I mean, our current social goal is 2,000 followers, so on Instagram. So make sure you drop a follow. It's really just we're refining our content strategy a lot with the type of content that we put out there. We have the blog posts as well on the website as well. So we write different troubleshooting things, different posts about different games coming out, etc., as well as like event posts and things as well. So if you ever need any quick advice, make sure you go onto the blog, and then you can probably find anything there, and then it will take you to Simrig support if you have any other issues.
So
it's quite a good system.
I have to say, for the preview I got of the SimRig support from Jack last week, I was very excited because everyone that's watching, if you've got a SimRig, they'll have the tech and the plans to be able to see how to assemble it, how to fix it, and more. It's already in there in a lot of ways, but it's growing all the time. So no, it's exciting to see. I think your market reach is going to be really big. And it really, I would say to anybody that's watching that is involved in sim racing, it's a place you need to go to be able to find out that information. I'm sure Jack, you agree with me there, but it's but it is, isn't it? Because if you're involved in this type of gaming or the industry, you're always going to have problems, isn't it? There's always going to be things that don't quite work out right, or you need to find things out, and that's where the SimRig support comes in, and also the Simstaff, because you've got that database, and that will grow. Can you tell us a little bit more before it's kind of about the exciting things that are coming?
Well, on the SimRig support side of things,
yeah. I mean, what have you already got? What have you already got that's available now?
So right now available is. There's 3 systems we got. We're mostly UK focused, except from our general call. So what we do is there's a £30 an hour session which you can book, and what that does is allows you. I think you've used it several times.
Many times.
People in the US, you got people here. But it's a quick conversation, and basically trying to resolve your issue without you then having to spend, either to get someone to come out to you, or to return your equipment, or to replace it. So we'll either whether it be setup, whether it be troubleshooting, whether it be just trying to figure out what the issue is, we'll support you in that. I say the entire intention of it is it's using our wider contractor network and the knowledge base that they've got, because even I don't know anything about absolutely every product we have, or that every product that exists. So it's using that wider network, because I think overall we cover most bases, and using that network to put that information onto you and to support you. First off, to make your experience better. We've had several people book us literally just to set up the simulator and get them to a place they're happy with it. And we've had people that have used us to, figure out whether they got an issue with their motion systems or the pedals or whatever. So we've got quite a different system there.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. Now, one of my commentators, Simon, who we do our Formula One show with, has asked you a great question, and it is: do you have a favourite Thomas the Tank Engine character? Only Simon could ask that.
Oh,
that will put him on the spot.
Okay. I haven't watched Thomas the Tank Engine in ages, by the way. It's not something I watch in my spare time. Who was?
Why don't you, Jack?
What was the? Hold on, I need to figure out what the crane. There was the crane character. Cranky. That was it. Cranky the crane. That's my go-to.
Very good indeed.
I think my one was Henry. Henry used to be my favourite. So yeah.
Oh, that's it. Well, Simon will be very happy. You have answered. If there's any other sim-related questions, then you can ask them.
I think you have train sim. It's not too far away.
I was about to say, I think they are releasing releasing a Thomas the Tank Engine sim. So I think it's all right. Doable.
That needs to be a thing. Somebody needs that. We got to make that, Jack. Thomas the Tank Engine simulator.
Yeah.
They legitimately are. I think it's a.
No, they got a game coming out, but not a simulator.
Yeah. That would be quite funny. To be fair, I've done bus sims. I mean, I'm a bus driver. I used to work for Arriva. Now I'm just a school bus driver. But I did a bus simulator. And the thing is, the first time I turned, I think it was on BeamNG that I played. And I at the first turn I did, I actually took out the bus stop. And there was some very funny looking characters that were kind of very much like old style kind of Atari 64 type things or whatever, Commodore 64 type people that they had that were about as just like a line of square. And I took the bus stop out along with them on my first as I tried to turn the bus to come into a stop. So no, they are quite funny, isn't it? It's amazing how all these niches have taken off with all these different kinds of.
I think our favorite sim. So we do a thing at the end of every year, which is like sim of the year. And this year, I gave the guys the options in the chat, and Jack was like, "You've got to put forklift sim in there," and I was like, fine, I will. And I didn't expect it to win. And I think we had so many votes, and literally the majority of it went to the forklift sim. So I think, like, as a company and as a community, I think they all really, really enjoy the forklift simulator that we have. So
I think
Yeah,
that's
I
the
suppose, do you have to have a
strangest.
forklift in your life to take parts in? Do you when something comes off the truck, are you allowed to go out there and put it on a forklift and drive it in?
Luckily, we haven't got anything too heavy in yet, so we just get away with the pallet trucks. But no, we had a client who wanted a forklift sim. I think that was not the strangest request we've had, but it was certainly an exciting one to try and build.
Yeah, I was going to say, would you actually design software for that, or would you just try and do the hardware for it?
Oh, so we found the hardware for it. We had to do a little bit of software just to get the hardware to work on some pre-existing software.
Yeah.
But yeah, we managed to get it working. I wouldn't say it's the smoothest thing ever, but it's it does the job.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Because now with effective AI, you can then find out if you get the right prompt in, it can actually help create you some of the the coding, isn't it, that you need to be able to build these things. So it's amazing how it's working. And in terms of, Ashley, do you think that Simstaff and also sim racing, or the kind of sim motorsport, do you think it will develop into maybe some of those more niche markets? Do you think that's something you might look into? It's these other kind of markets of any kind of driving, just about anything you can think of.
definitely, I mean, like, there's obviously you brought up like learning how to drive, etc. as well. Like, you have farming simulator or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
And like, we're so slowly starting to see sims come out which replicate tractors and things like that. So there's definitely a lot of potential with it, either using those kinds of things at similar events in the industry, for example, like an agricultural kind of show doing like a farming simulator thing, or at a logistics company doing the forklift sim thing, or maybe even Euro Truck Simulator. And then there's a lot of opportunities to use it there, and also with just like training as well, so learning how to use the equipment. So my hope is that as something like a game like Forklift Sim develops, or mods come out for it more, we can do more things with it, particularly in regards to like professional training, etc. as well.
yeah. I know, that's it, isn't it? That's the thing. I was going to say, Ashley, if you want to put your links as well in the comments, you're more than welcome to put them in so people know exactly where they can find you. Obviously, we've mentioned the simstaff.net website, and then Sims Rig Support as well, which you can find on Google. But all your you do a lot of very funny videos. In fact, Jack, you have been the centre of those videos on Facebook.
He is my star. He is the star of the show all the time.
I know, been renamed to Content Man as of late.
Content Man,
but they are very good. They are very, very good. In fact, Woody Boy has said there needs to be a proper taxi sim to train drivers. There's so many bad drivers around here. That that's the thing. And Simon Jerry says, definitely when Mr. Bean has to change to his shorts on the beach in front of the blind man. So here we go. No, that's the one. But yeah, no, it's kind of amazing how things all develop. And I'll be looking forward to seeing more videos on Instagram and Facebook of the latest equipment and the latest questions that you have. I like the fact you hold a tool in one hand and something else in the other, and put it all together, and then there is an end product that comes to it, which is good. What's been your most enjoyable build actually in recent months?
Oh, I'll be honest with you, I think we've had a few private installs which have been incredibly fun to mess around with, because it's just putting together the perfect toy. You're using, active pedals, the best wheelbases we can find. We're using, the Corsair Xenon Edge, stuff like that now. So getting to mess around with those and build basically the ultimate toy is probably one of my favorite things that I've lately been able to get my hands on and mess around with.
Yeah, no, that's it. But it's amazing though what comes about, isn't it? And what you can, I suppose, when you're as well a private build, must be fun, because then that's someone who really wants to get something quite special.
That's it.
And you can go to, you can recommend all the latest stuff. In fact, one of my friends, Jeff from the Sim Cafe, he's bought an awful lot from AliExpress, And he's got all his, and but he's at a fraction of the price of, and he's got it working. He's got one of these thingy boxes, it has like a start button, and toggle switches. What do they call it? Is
a button box.
A button box, yeah. That makes sense in a button box. But it looks fantastic. And we were down playing it the other week there, and so my son, who's 12, kind of went on to say, you press the start button, and then the whole car kind of starts up. It was on a Assetto Corsa, I think it was. And it's amazing how it all feels, and it comes out the sounds. And then, of course, you can press the other buttons for getting it into gear and all this kind of stuff. I love those handbrakes as well that you can get, that kind of for rallying, isn't it? You can have it on the side, and you just pump it along, and it's amazing fun, and the kind of experience that it gives you. I've never had gears or a handbrake on mine yet, but as I mainly do the kind of semi-automatic stuff. But no, it is good. Now, Woody Boy is saying the Turtle Beach wheel comes with a button box. That's quite a good one, isn't it? That's a new one, because I've got a Turtle Beach headset, but they've recently done a wheel and pedals. Have you seen that one, Jack? Have you?
I've not had my hands on it yet. I've seen they've got one. I think it's either pre-attached or it's part of the actual, like, to the right of the wheelbase. I think Turtle Beach was one I didn't expect to join. But I think they've done really well. I think they're using similar technology to, I want to say, kind of like your Fanatec's, kind of that range. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they develop and how they go. I think it's really good for the industry as a whole, having, new companies step in and try different things. I think they've got that really nice like dash just behind the wheel as well. So yeah, it's good to see them take part, and it's good overall.
Yeah, no, that's been fantastic. It's the thing, isn't it? Well, we're coming up to 55 minutes, almost an hour there. That it's been phenomenal having you on the show, I have to say. We'll gladly have you back as things all develop and as we get into the year, and especially when you launch the new site for SimRig support, because that's going to be, I think, a really huge launch, and definitely something that will be of importance to everyone involved in sim racing, because it will be an amazing experience. I will not say any more. It's coming, and it looks great. They're absolutely brilliant. Now, Jack Fury, who's watching, says White Van Man would be cool. Yeah, that would be an interesting kind of driving thing, wouldn't it? That would be a fantastic sim. That would. And he's also said, and all the small railway rides you get as well. Yes, I'm sure you can speed them up.
Like the little one you get the centre parks with the train that goes around.
Yeah. No, that's it. Well, you're too tall for the tunnels, and that's the kind of thing, isn't it? But yeah, no, that's the thing. Well, look, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute joy to have you. It's always good fun, and it's great to see how things are going. And for you, Ashley, as well. I know earlier on, for those who have just joined us recently, you were talking about your forensic criminology. That's your kind of background. And from all of that, you came into sim motorsports for Simstaff, which is an incredible background. But no, it's been great to have you on the show, and you're welcome back anytime. And Jack, I know we'll have you back definitely. If it's not even just for my own Streamlab support, it could always be streamlabsupport.com. Actually, with that kind of thing, I think is what it might need. But no, it's been super. And let me just before we go, let us know of what you're doing in the next few days. Is there anything people should be looking out for that you might be putting on, any kind of live events or anything like that might be on YouTube or anything like that?
Ooh, there's a few things we can't talk about, but there's some exciting stuff happening soon. Next few days I've got a lot of prep work to do. We've got loads of rigs getting ready to go out, so I'm a busy guy at this time of year, it would appear. But yeah, there's loads going on. There's not much you can
see
out there and say just yet, but just keep your eyes out.
Yeah, and for you, Ashley, any new videos and big social media posts that are being launched? Anything happening in the next little while?
Yeah, so we'll be going to an event this week where hopefully we'll be getting a long form video from it. So that will be going up on our socials and YouTube as well as we'll be getting a few different short form bits and bobs from it as well. Obviously, we've got a couple more of the messing around videos coming out, the funny ones. So they'll be coming out over the next few weeks as well. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, I'll be streaming my gaming very soon. If not tomorrow, it'll definitely be on Thursday. So that should be good fun with now my new setup that Jack got working. So I'm afraid, Jack, if it doesn't work, you're in trouble. But
I'll wait for the email. We'll see.
You'll be waiting just in case on the side of that phone. But no, I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. You did a great job of getting it all sorted before, so I'll be looking forward to having another go and racing on the different games. But it's been an absolute pleasure to have you both on the show, and thank you very much for coming and make sure that Josh gives you that overtime, that little extra for coming on, as it was very tough. It challenged you to the nth degree with lots of things. But thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. And to everyone watching, I'll finish, of course, with our motto. It is, of course, drive fast, don't crash. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye just now.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.